Hello, beautiful soul sisters. Welcome into Cooking with Purpose. I'm Veronica Rosa, your emotional wellness and your life coach. And today we're diving into a juicy and deep talk topic: healing triggers in soulmate relationships. Ooh, so now we're getting in the good stuff. To the good healing, the core healing. So come on in. Welcome to my kitchen, have a seat at the table. If you have ever felt like love is bringing out the worst in you and not the best, this episode is for you, girlfriend. And to make it clear, soulmate and love doesn't necessarily mean a romantic relationship. It could be a mother, a child, somebody who's close to you. So these are we're gonna heal the triggers in these soulmate relationships. The truth is that soulmates will mirror your wounds before they mirror your joy. So let's talk about how to honor your heart without abandoning yourself in the name of love, girlfriend, in the name of love. So let's talk about why soulmate relationships trigger us. And again, doesn't have to necessarily mean a romantic relationship. A soulmate can be a mother, a daughter, a father, aunt, uncle. It could be somebody that you just know. The person's closest to you, who you think, oh, this is my soulmate, is your mirror, not just your beauty and your brilliance, but for your pain, your patterns, your shadows. In conscious relationships, your soulmate will reflect where you still abandon yourself, where you need boundaries, what unhealed parts of you are still asking for attention. So these triggers, they feel like punishment, but honestly, they're not punishments. They're the invitation to heal. And so once we stop running and fighting and name, pointing fingers, and start reflecting and asking, becoming curious versus defensive, and say, okay, why did that happen? Then we can start the healing process. So let's go over 3 ways to practice self-discipline in love. So step number 1: when you are triggered, breathe before you speak. So again, instead of being defensive and responding, stop and become curious and ask yourself, why did that happen? And so the need for practicing self-discipline isn't silence, it's response of overreaction. And so we don't want to stonewall. We don't want to have to, no, nothing's wrong, and stone face and stonewall. But we want to be able to control our reaction and think, why is this bothering me? Become curious versus being defensive. Step number 2: don't argue with old stories. Ask, is this really about them, or am I projecting something old? Create space between the emotion and the expression. So stop arguing and rewinding, going to the past and repeating the past. Instead of arguing and fighting, get your journal out and start asking yourself, is this really about them, or are you projecting something from your past? So create space between the emotion and the expression, and get journaling, get quiet. And number 3, stay grounded in your truth. Set boundaries without guilt. So you're arguing, you're fighting. I need some time for myself. Set those boundaries, get your journal, and instead of being defensive, get creative, or curious, and start thinking about what is your need, how can you express your needs without begging, or what is the trigger coming from? Is it you? Is it them? Taking some time to journal and do some reflection through becoming curious versus defensive is going to help heal. It's going to begin the process, the catalyst to doing the shadow work and healing the inner child. Love doesn't require self abandonment, it requires self respect. And so, if you want respect, you got to respect yourself first by setting those boundaries and getting clear It's like cleaning your house. So we're journaling is like cleaning your house internally, your thoughts, your and becoming aware of your patterns, your reactions, and asking yourself, where does this stem from? So there was my twin flame, my soulmate, my husband is my twin flame. I'm a master number 11. He's a master number 22. I didn't know that when we first met. When we first met, and we fell in love real quick, and then right away it was like every month, if not a couple times a month, we're fighting, fighting, fighting. And there was a time where my husband, then my boyfriend, and I would spiral into cycles of miscommunication, anger, being defensive. And I realized I was trying to get from him what I wasn't giving myself: validation, softness, space. And the moment that I owned that, everything shifted. So let me show you something here. Let's go back to our chakras, because our chakras is our emotional energy center. And so like layers of an onion, like I said, it seemed like every month, if not a couple times a month for like over a decade, we would have these fights and would go into these rage and try to burn bridges, and then we would like come back together. So this is when I realized, or no, it took years for me to realize this, but through my healing, been able to identify emotions. Okay, so this is your chakra, your emotional energy center. Down at the bottom, we have your root chakra, and then we have your sacral chakra, your solar plexus, your heart, your throat, your third eye, and then your crown. So that is your emotional energy center that also corresponds to your endocrine system, your hormones. So your hormones have also an impact on your emotions. And so a lot of us are blocked in our emotional energy center because we were not taught how to process emotion. A lot of us are blocked in our emotional energy center because our parents or our caretakers went through a trauma that that created habits in them that may have been out of survival mode or need to survive, but now it has turned into toxicity, broken emotional habits or emotional reactions. And so down at the bottom, it's somebody who's very toxic in the root chakra can become very narcissistic or can seem very narcissistic or with narcissistic tendencies. Up on the top at the crown chakra, somebody who is unhealed or toxic in her crown chakra, his or her crown chakra can seem to be very empathic, super emotional, a doormat, some very submissive. They can become very submissive, and you see this, the yin and the yang, we all have both. And so what we want to do is create the balance within ourselves, the masculine and the feminine energy. So we want to have a healthy balance of the root chakra, which is your money, your stability, your creating your essentials, obtaining your essentials through yourself, your money, your place of living, food, shelter. And then up on top is your spiritual connection. So that's like very empathic, emotional, you're thoughtful, you're caring, you're connected with the divine. So a lot of times when you are very super holy or empathic, we can, or religion can turn us, or cultures can make an empath become toxic by being submissive, and then they don't have the courage to ask for their worth, for their to be paid for their time. And so then they're imbalanced because now they don't have the money to support their own basic needs for survival. And so each of those emotional energy centers, depending on who you are, where you came from, and what traumas you went through, there is an imbalance in those traumas. And so when your soulmate comes along, your soulmate is going to trigger you in each sector so that you can take your power back. So in my case, when I first, okay, so when I first met my husband, I was more balanced. I had a healthier balance between my masculine and my feminine energies. I had a job, I was paying my own bills, I had my own car notes, um and so I was real strong in the money in the root chakra. I had a creativity, I had a pleasure. I didn't have self-esteem or confidence. Love and forgiveness, my heart was really big and very over caring, very giving. My communication was low. I had fear because, yeah, as a little girl, it was like, you be quiet, you shut up, it doesn't matter. My intuition, that was also blocked, and my spiritual connection, I had some spiritual connection, but it was dim. My light was dimmed at the time of meeting my husband, meaning that when your crown chakra is dim, you most likely are suffering like mental health issues like anxiety, depression, just to name a few. And so when I got with my now husband, my soulmate, my twin flame, and we came into union, I had left my job, and so I became dependent of him. And so my dynamic shifted from being healthier or normal to becoming very toxic. And we were having like this like a tug of war between the narcissist and the empath. And so when I became dependent of him, I became more spiritual, enlightened, more empathic, more giving, more walking on eggshells to cater to him, since he was going to provide my basic needs, food, shelter, and my basic needs in the root chakra. And then vice versa. For him, he became more like money, mind, greedy, and it became more when he was normal, or well, let's say use normal, or it's broken. It's because a lot of us, most of the society is broken, and then we meet somebody, and then they take us into a, and we teeter totter between the three: healthy, broken, toxic. And and so the thing is that the point is that through your soulmates, they're supposed to trigger you, to awaken you, to say, hey, I'm gonna make my own money, I'm gonna provide, go get a job, and and provide for my own personal needs. Hey, I have creativity, I have a healthy balance in my pleasure. I now have self-esteem, self-confidence. I have love and forgiveness, and I speak up my truth. I have my third eye opened up, and I have intuition. I have my create a healthy balance of my creativity, where it's like sometimes where I don't even know the logic and the theory of how am I going to do it. I just know that I have to go on this path because this is my purpose. So that's the crown is like your purpose. And so it took years and years and years, like layers of an onion. I always use that because it's like layers of an onion, where certain years or timelines, time frames, and with certain people, you will be triggered in each emotional energy. And if we are not willing to do the work, then we can be like, F you, I'm done. F you, I'm done. And we don't heal. And we go and we keep jumping from one person to the next person to the next person to the next person. And my husband and I, that's how we were at first. We were like just normal. And so this is actually a page from my emotional wellness, women's emotional wellness workbook, to help you identify where you at, and so that you can say, okay, you do a personal assessment, you say, okay, this is where I need to grow, this is where I need to heal. So somebody, and the start with the bottom of the root chakra, somebody who is a woman who is like broken, or just let's say unbalanced in the middle. So we have healed, unbalanced, or broken, and then toxic, right? So somebody who's just, let's say, in the normal, in the middle, normal. Let's just use the word normal because that's like the average of our society. Is she might constantly worry about her financial situation, no matter how secure it is, and feel fearful or anxious in daily life. So when I met my husband, I had my job, I had my 9 to 5, I I had my car notes, my house payment. I was handling my own business. But if I were to have been broken or toxic during that time, I would be isolating myself, refuse to trust others, engage in manipulative behaviors to keep people close to control the outcome. And that's usually because you have a fear of abandonment. That has like a huge fear of abandonment. Now, when you're healed, you manage your finances well and you have a stable home environment. You feel confident in handling life's changes. In your sacral chakra, they have to do with creativity and pleasure. Somebody who is normal feels avoids intimacy, feels uncomfortable with your body, and suppresses your emotions, often feeling empty or disconnected. Toxic. And so we use the word toxic and it sounds like a bad word, but actually it was a mechanism that was learned to survive. And a lot of times we learn those habits, and nowadays we no longer need to react in that way because those are old belief systems that are no longer serving us. So let's go back down to the root chakra. For example, in my husband and I, his mother was abandoned as a child, so she learned how to be a hustler, how to be a provider, how to take her own. But it's almost like it went overboard, and then she taught that to my husband, those habits like give me, take mine, and like almost like greedy, and him being very masculine. By the time we're in our 20s and 30s, and having addictions, it became very toxic, like not sharing, me, mines, and trying to take, and not even when we got married. When we got married, I left my job and I was like, oh, the holy thing says I'm supposed to be here submissive and just sit here and wait for him to take care of me. That triggered an imbalance within myself and ended up getting really toxic because began to isolate. I didn't have a job. I was at home. I was lonely. I was depressed. I was jealous. I had fear that he was going to abandon me. And so it showed up in my reactions and it started fights. And so as much as I was pointing fingers at him, like, you piece of, you didn't give me money, or you don't buy me a car, and you promised you were going to do this. After I stopped doing this and I realized, oh, I got three fingers back and say, okay, Veronica, how can I take personal responsibility and start creating my own finances? Well, I'm going to start walking. I'm going to find a, uh, a nail salon that I can rent when I moved from Wisconsin to Florida. And so, as much as I hated it, that's what I needed in order for me to become balanced and become healthy again. In order for me to take control of my personal finances, my home environment, and feel confident in handling life's challenges alone. And so, let me see how much. I don't want to go. I feel like I want to go through the whole thing, but I don't want to over take up too much time. And so I hope this is making sense. It's once we sometimes we are triggered. My mom triggered me. And for a long time I was angry and mad. And when I was angry and mad, we drink alcohol. And then before you know it, we're on the top of the roof dancing on the flagpole and getting into legal troubles. And so it took a lot of learning to bite the tongue, and instead of being defensive, to get quiet, set boundaries. No, I'm not going out tonight. I'm not going to go drink. I'm going to heal my wounds. And so a lot of the inner child traumas came back from fear of being abandoned. And so once I was able to identify where I was toxic, where I was balanced, I still had a guide, an assessment of, okay, something to work towards. In my communication, I was like, since I'm a female and I'm Latina and you have to shut up, be quiet, don't say anything. I didn't know how to speak up for myself, how to defend myself. And so these triggers, can be very, very uncomfortable because they're supposed to trigger you to to shift into something different, something that you're not used to being. And a lot of times, even like fairy tale stories, they install a belief system in our heads that, oh, a woman is supposed to be find her knight in shining armor and he's gonna rescue her and take her off and live happily ever after. And no, each and every one of us come into this world with our unique purpose and personal life lessons. And so my husband was really, really good at communication and asking and taking, and me, I was like, "Ooh, you're so narcissist," and he was like, "Ooh, you're such an you're so sensitive, empathic." And what I thought was my weakness of being empathic, in empath, being emotional, at actually ended up being my strength. Once I did the assessments, the work, and I figured out my my personal who I am, where I came from, and where I'm going, and I rewrote the victim consciousness, the victim conscious story that I had. Let's go back to my okay. So right there you have in the tarot cards, when I was felt like I was normal until I met my husband. He was my soulmate that what came into my life to trigger me when I was like in La La Land, and he awakened me to the emotions of what I'm to my consciousness, my subconsciousness. I was feeling like a victim, like I was stabbed in the back, like I was hurt in the heart. And I had to learn how to have the strength and control my tongue and practice positive affirmations to manifest what it is that I'm really desiring in life so that I can come in union, in balance, my masculine and my feminine energy within myself, which then attract and magnetize love versus chasing it. And so my soulmate, I wasn't into esoteric or holistic healing until I met my soulmate, and we got together, and all of a sudden dynamics shifted that triggered both of us on both ends, where we were fu, but the love, the soulmate kept us together. So then we'd have to like think and be, I'm gonna have to be a little bit more like him. And he was like, I have to be a little bit more like her. And that brought balance, the masculine and the feminine energy within in balance within each other, which then attracted us even more together to be healed, whole, and be working in union with each other. And so I could go on and on and on this topic. I absolutely love this topic, but I hope you understand that the vision board that I give you helps you understand how your emotions are real. And where do they stem from? Is it just a old belief system, a fear of being abandoned? Is it having that Are you carrying and holding on to resentment, and you have a need to heal the broken heart through forgiveness? And how do you do that? You practice gratitude and always consciously becoming and being aware of your thoughts and stopping before you're reacting, instead of being defensive, becoming curious and getting setting boundaries, getting clear, doing your work, the inner work, so that you can identify where your soul is wounded, what lesson is being learned, and how you can shift from being a victimized to being a warrior survivor. And so, with that being said, get out your journal and ask yourself these three questions. Where do I shrink, chase, or abandon myself in love? Number two, what triggers keep repeating in my relationship? And so that was big. Well, for my husband and I, we kept fighting and we kept separating, and then would go with the other person. We had the same issues, and so we decided, you know what? I might as well be with you and work on the issue, and started to practice new habits of being trusting, loving, forgiving, communicating my needs, having self confidence and a healthy feeling, having a healthy sacral chakra where you are expressing yourself, your emotions, and your creativity without fear of making a mistakes or being ridiculed. And so ask yourself, do some journaling and reflection, and get your women's wellness workbook so that you can read the whole thing and do your own personal assessments and identify, is it, because a lot of times we're like, you piece of, and we're pointing finger, and it's like us. My husband, he had both of us were former addicts, And but his addiction was the bad one, or they're both bad. So mine was alcohol. His was the white substance. and and I was like, you piece of you are an addict and everything. Girl, I was worse than him. Just because the alcohol was legal, I was worse. I was worse within my emotion energy center. I was toxic. And once I stopped saying, oh, because you're doing that and I'm better because this is legal. But once I started setting the boundaries and started to avoid alcohol and practice daily habit trackers, not only in those five physical, not just on those five habits that help your physical wellness, like the avoiding sugar, avoiding alcohol, avoiding carbonated drinks, avoiding cigarettes or smoking, avoiding fast food. Then I stepped it up a notch and I started to practice, since I was going to be with him and we're going to practice on becoming a better version of ourselves together. There's another page in my workbook where I also started to hold myself accountable each day when I was with him, if not if not holding on to resentment, to be mindful of not stonewalling, not criticizing. Where is it? No stonewalling, no criticizing. There's like four more daily habits I would practice when it comes to love and relationships, to make sure that I was not reacting and acting in a way that was gonna get me closer to what I was looking for love. Because if I wanted love, but I had anger and resentment, he was coming into the house and I had an attitude like like entitlement or he owed me something. But once I stopped, became mindful of that, and I started practicing being reacting in ways that are in alignment with my goals of having unified love. I started to practice this, like even though I have this jealousy and fear and doubt, when he comes in, I'm going to practice being playful, being loving, not stonewalling, not criticizing. I can't remember the other four in it, but it's in the women's wellness workbook. Get your workbook. You can download it today and start working on yourself. And so let's get back to your journal prompts. The third question I want you to ask yourself is, what boundaries do I need to hold to honor your worth? So what boundaries do I need to hold to honor my worth? And so that's why your women's wellness workbook is extremely handy, because you begin to do some self-reflection and start to identify your personal values, your personal needs, your personal emotional energy center. The women's wellness emotional workbook actually makes emotion tangible. And sometimes it's just that. Maybe sometimes just acknowledging or being validated an emotion can be the catalyst of your healing. Sometimes we have to practice and do a little bit more therapy, emotional therapy, but this is the beginning of being to identify, is it me? Is it him? How do I fix this? I My husband called at lunchtime and said that we're going out for dinner, so I'm just making a snack for when he gets home before we go out for dinner. And so let me go ahead and just flip over the the chicken wings. Last time I burned myself. Turn off this timer. Let me just flip over these wings and put them for another 22 minutes in the oven, and then 5 minutes in the broiler for extra crispy chicken wings. Okay. Timer 22. Okay, so with that being said, let's anchor in this energy with affirmations for self-worth and soul-aligned love, and and say a prayer. And I also want you to let you know that if you're running from relationship to relationship, and you have like the same, you keep picking the same toxic people, that is a insight, that is a red flag that there's something within you that you need to heal. And instead of pointing the fingers and saying, you piece of, and you, start thinking about, how am I reacting? What are my triggers? And what is it that my soul needs to heal? Maybe you need to heal your throat and stand up for yourself. Maybe you need to heal your heart and start loving and forgiving. Maybe you need to heal your solar plexus so that you have self confidence. Maybe you need to heal your sacral energy because you went through um, um, trauma as a child. Maybe you need to heal your root chakra and become dependent of yourself with your own finances and your everyday needs. And so today we're going to take our power back, and instead of criticizing, we're going to become curious, to become aware of our patterns. And it's not to be shamed on, but it's to become aware so that we can start shifting the way that we react so that we can get closer to the goals that we're looking for, if it's love and relationships. And so forgive your soulmates who have triggered you, and understand that they were put into this world to awaken you to your subconscious of what you're doing, of how you're thinking and how you're reacting, so that you can start healing those old patterns and we become those generational curse breakers, girlfriend. So affirm, look at your eyes, put your eyes on the prize. You are the prize, girlfriend. If you can look into the mirror, it works even better. But the real secret is feeling it in your belly, feeling it in your body. And so today, say, I choose relationships that honor who I truly am. I release patterns and invite in love that feels safe. I express my needs with clarity and confidence. I am not too much. I'm just enough for the right love. And drop a purple heart in the comments if you are ready to choose yourself without guilt. And so now that we have nourished our hearts and our emotional energy center, let's nourish the body, girlfriend. So tonight we're cooking from a place of grounded love, because the way you treat yourself sets the tone for everyday relationships around you. And so let this meal be a mirror, I'm a chicken wing, of the self love you're choosing. Let's get cooking with purpose and with worth, girlfriend. Welcome to Cooking with Purpose. Fill your body and feed your soul. Let's get cooking with purpose to lower A1C, shed unwanted weight, maximize mental sharpness and clarity, boost self expression, boost immune system, build confidence, maintain emotional balance, relieve pain, relieve headaches, cleanse your digestion, and much more. Welcome to Cooking with Purpose, where we fill our bodies and feed our souls. If you are feeling tired, overwhelmed, stressed, or struggling with weight loss, anxiety, or energy crashes, it's time to take back control, starting in the kitchen. Today, we are cooking an easy and delicious, nutrient packed dinner to help boost your metabolism, balance hormones, and fuel your body for success. Whether you are a busy mom, battling cravings, or just looking to feel amazing again, this is for you. Drop a firebomb in the comments if you are ready to cook with me. Let's get cooking, good looking. So, what's for dinner? Let's get cooking, good looking. So, what's for dinner? So, again, my husband called saying that we're gonna go on a hot date. Perfect day to do love and relationship. Wednesday hump day. So, I'm just making some chicken baked, oven baked chicken wings that are extremely good. We loved it. I make them like almost every other week. Um, and maybe just like a little side salad, something, just a little snack to hold us over until we get to the restaurant. And I just want to let you know and remind you that cooking with purpose isn't just about food, it's about freedom. That freedom for me started when I began to detox from sugar, alcohol, and everything that was dimming my lights, setting those boundaries, having that self-discipline. For me, back in high school, I started getting on birth control, which made me gain a whole bunch of weight. I felt self-conscious. I had anxiety, social anxiety. I started drinking alcohol to get through school, caffeine pills to keep me up, and that actually ended up to more anxiety, more depression, and a cycle of prescription medications and then addiction. Years later, I found myself as a divorced single mom, overwhelmed, watching my son, my 7-year-old son, spiral from ADHD and thoughts of unaliving himself, and it broke my heart. Around the same time, that's when I met my twin flame, and he began to trigger me too, from being broken or normal to being toxic. uh, I started drinking a lot of alcohol. I got a DUI. I had a breast cancer scare. I was spiraling down, and I broke down. I broke down after that DUI. But ended up breakdown ended up being my breakthrough because I had been years of going to the doctors for lorazepam, clonazepam. Um, I can't even remember. All it was over 10 years ago. uh, Medication for insomnia, all kinds of, I think trazodone, all kinds of different medications for my son was on Adderall for ADHD. And so during that time when I met my now husband, then I had issues with my son and my personal emotional that breakdown actually became my breakthrough. I realized that the systems weren't saving me. And so I started studying life, health, the food system, holistic healing, to say the least. And long story short, I put my son on and myself on a sugar detox. And just in 3 days, I noticed a huge difference. It was as if he were on his Adderall without the Adderall side effects. And so he was more clear minded, he was happier, he was more alive. And that's what sparked my journey into wellness. And since then, over 10 years, we've been prescription medication free, no more problems. And we began to heal from the inside out with real food by setting real boundaries. And that brought true love, health, and abundance in all areas of our lives. Till this day, my son is now 21, over 10 years. My son and I are medication free. And my husband, who we had went through a whole bunch of cycles, like layers of an onion, uh, of toxic cycles of ups and downs because we were addicts. And now we are thriving. We're living in union, in love, with respect. We're running two businesses, including Vitality and Values Wellness, which is helping women transform their lives all over the world. And so it all started in the kitchen with one decision of detoxing sugar. And so tonight, when you cook, remember that one nourishing choice at a time can also help rewrite your story. So for sugar, the sugar affects your endocrine system. Your endocrine system also correlates with your chakras because your endocrine system is your hormones. And so if your hormones are off balance, then your emotions also are off balance. And you're too ornery to even have the patience to become mindful and stop and think and react and become mindful of how you're reacting. And so by eliminating the alcohol, the sugar, the carbonated drinks, you're adding more water to your body, it starts to clean your system. You are able to think a lot clearer instead of being lethargic and tired. You have pep in your step and you're awake and you're ready to conquer the world. And so then you invite the opportunity of practicing different habits to get you closer to your dream goals, your dream life. And so today we're gonna keep it simple. I'm making oven baked chicken wings. This is a really good meal when you're doing a sugar detox. Very simple. I did 12 chicken wings and drumlets. Added some olive oil, garlic powder, paprika. I like the smoky flavor. Salt, pepper, and tossed it up and put the oven for 425. Let it put it in before we started the show for 22 and a half minutes, and we have 12 minutes left. After the 12 minutes, I will put the broiler on for 5 more minutes. Ooh, they're gonna be so good. Over the weekend, we went to South Florida. We were at a hotel, and I ordered I think it was eight chicken wings, they were actually fried, so they were fried. It was like $20 for for eight, a set of eight wings, and they were good. They're crispy and you're hungry, man, but they didn't have the flavor of the spices and the herbs that I use. So I encourage you, the secret sauce to cooking and making delicious, healthy food is in the spices and the seasons. And so I encourage you to get to your local grocery store and start getting those spices and seasons to make healthy, delicious meals that is going to help balance your emotional energy center so that you can start acting and not reacting in your emotions and your triggers, and become more mindful. Why? What is that trigger? What does it come from? With the salad, I mean with the wings, I'm gonna use our leftovers here, that coleslaw that I made yesterday. I made that dip, which was really delicious. I made this Greek yogurt with zero sugar. I made a natural ranch dip with spices and herbs and lemon, salt and pepper. I think I put dill, a little bit of dill, but Italian seasoning. Right now, Italian seasoning is going in everything. I love it. So I'm just gonna make a little small side salad to go with our chicken wings. This is definitely one of my to-go meals. Easy peasy. Got some romaine or organic romaine salad, organic cucumber. I have quinoa made already if I really wanted to, but he's just gonna come home, shower, and then we're gonna go out for dinner. So I don't want to make too much food. I hear my chicken wings sizzling. Snap, crackle, pop. Just go to vitalityvalueswellness.com, and on that front page, you'll go down and you'll see the Women's Wellness Workbook. It's $29.99. Are you out of your mind? Just for $29.99, you get your journal and you can start journaling and doing your own healing work. So you can start healing the inner child, girlfriend. That's where the real magic happens, is that when you stop pointing fingers and saying, expecting the doctors to prescribe you this and your man to take care of you, like shining night, what do you call it, a night, shining night, I can't even say it, you know what I mean. All right, so let me show you here what we got for dinner, for snack, for appetizers. Okay, so this is a little bit of the coleslaw that I made yesterday. Remember, I told you it turns like a real pretty pink color. And then this is the dressing that I made yesterday. It's so good, super good. And I actually have celery and carrots that I can take out and add. I even already have green juice ready to drink. And this dip is Greek yogurt with lemon, salt, pepper, Italian seasoning. That's really good. It's really healthy. No preservatives. Really, really good. All right. So I have about 3 more minutes on my chicken wings before I put them into broil for 5. Let's do a quick angel card reading for you. In the name of God, message for you. Message for you. Quiet retreat. See, you need to get your Women's Wellness Workbook and get quiet and retreat. And so it's time to disconnect from the outer world so that you can discern and process your true thoughts and feelings from the inner world. Create this quiet time for yourself, and you'll have more clarity about what to do next. Amen. Message for you. Successful funding. I've been thinking about this card all day. Your idea is divinely guided and supported by the same infinite wisdom of God that gave you the idea. Do not allow money concerns to prevent you from turning it into reality. Crowdfunding, partnerships, and other investments are available to help you. One more card, one more message for you. One more message. Oh, there we go. Abundance mindset. You see, there's a chakra and it's thinking positively. It says, if you think of your abundance as something that happens in the future, then it will always be one day away from you. See, feel, think, and speak of abundance as a something you already have in the present moment. And that is what you will experience. And that is the power of saying affirmations. And actually, I started learning about the power of affirmations when I was working in marketing. Now, I remember in the mornings when they would say, push your post-it notes and get up, and they would make us get dressed, come to work, get dressed, do your makeup, say those positive affirmations. I would come into work and bam, 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 I'd make a whole bunch of sales. And the days that I was feeling down, that I would wake up late, that wouldn't do my hair and makeup, I was feeling all sluggish, I would make no sales on those days. And so that was actually one of the very first ways, without being aware of what of manifestation, using all those words of abundance and all that. But I actually can see how practicing these powerful affirmations really does shift your energy and can create a whole different outcome. Okay, I'm gonna put the broiler on high. for 5 minutes. Okay. So now we just wait 5 minutes and dinner will be served. Or let's go ahead and talk about these other chakras because I really enjoyed this self-assessment to understand and begin the healing of your wounded soul. So your solar plexus has to do with your self-confidence. And so normal, she hesitates to pursue her goals, often giving into others' opinions and doubts her decisions, leading to a lack of personal growth. Then somebody who's toxic, she undermines others' efforts to feel superior, demands attention, manipulates situation to keep herself in a position of power. Now, if you have a healed solar plexus, she takes on leadership roles, set boundaries when necessary, and confidently pursues her dreams without feeling the need to compete with others. Whoa. The heart chakra. Unbalanced is she isolates herself emotionally, avoids deep connections, and feels afraid of being hurt again. When you're toxic, she constantly tests her partner's loyalty, becomes possessive, and uses emotional manipulation to keep people close, even if unhealthy. A healed chakra, she builds strong, supportive relationships and is able to forgive others and herself, practicing self love and compassion. Now, the throat chakra, unbalanced or normal. She avoids confrontation, rarely speaks up for herself, and struggles to communicate her needs effectively. Toxic, she talks over others, spreads misinformation, and uses guilt and manipulation as her speech to control situations. How does your communication look like when you're healed? She speaks her mind without fear, listens to other perspectives, and engages in meaningful conversation. So you're not over speaking whatever, you have a healthy give and take. Your third eye, normal or unbalanced. She frequently changes her mind or hesitates to make decisions, is unsure of which path to follow. When she's toxic, she convinces others to follow her ideas, even when they are based on delusion, and uses spiritual manipulation to keep control over people's beliefs. So you can use like a lot of like religion, like fear of religion, like you're gonna go to hell, type of manipulating to keep people in control. And then a healed third eye is she trusts her gut feeling and often makes decisions that align with her higher purpose, embracing self-awareness and growth. And then the last one, the crown chakra, unbalanced or normal, or like our normal society, just because everybody's doing doesn't mean that it's okay. Everybody in school was smoking. That was not that was normal, but it wasn't healthy, right? And so um, I'm going to use the terms unbalanced or normal as the midsection, and then we teeter totter depending where you are in life and what the situation is. But the unbalanced or normal is she feels lost, questions her existence, and finds little meaning to everyday life. When she's toxic, she imposes her spiritual beliefs and others, dismisses their path, and behaves as if all of the answers as she behaves as she knows all the answers and looks down on those who don't follow her. So I see that a lot of like in religion, or even in like black magic. You feel like you can control people through manipulating them and putting back black spells. A healed soul in your crown chakra, as she practices mindfulness, seeks wisdom from spiritual teachings, and feels a deep sense of connection with herself and the world around her. And so that is healing your emotional energy center, also known as your chakras, so that we go from the emotions of we go from the negative, which is to me is the devil, and the red and the green is God. We go from feeling discouraged, insignificant, weak, insecure, embarrassed, frustrated, stupid, depressed, inadequate, hateful, skeptical, to feeling joy, content, relaxed, loving, confident, worthwhile, respected, satisfied, proud, fascinating, stimulating, playful, And those are the emotions that you will be feeling when your energy center, your emotions are healed. So the triggers are the negative, the hate, the critical, the miserable, and the healed is when you're at peace, when you have joy within yourself. The wings are ready, girlfriend. Timer off. I like them like this, extra crispy. I'm gonna do a little salad with a side of coleslaw, and look at that one homemade, healthy, delicious meal. Oven baked chicken wings, red cabbage, and romaine side salad to go. What? They just came out of the oven, so they're gonna be really hot. Yep. Have a hot date, ladies. That was super easy. And the best part, it's super delicious. Look at that. Look at that, girlfriend. Another meal for our 90-day detox cookbook. Join me on this mission. Ooh, crispy, delicious. All the seasonings, the Italian seasoning, the garlic and the onion powder, salt and pepper. Oh, and I put a secret sauce, a dash of cinnamon. Join me on the 90-day detox. It's not too late. This not only does it help balance your emotions and help regulate your emotions, you begin to shed and shine, girlfriend. So join me on this 90-day detox challenge. I'll meet you in the kitchen tomorrow at 5 o'clock to go over our mission and life purpose. Ooh, now we're getting. Are you ready to take the first steps to shedding weight, boosting your energy, and transforming your habits? It all starts here. Visit vitalityvalueswellness.com and look for the free habit tracker section. Enter your first name, your last name, along with your email address, and your tracker will be delivered straight to your inbox. You've got this. I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Download now and let's start your journey today. vitalityvalueswellness.com.